Hey, welcome back, everyone. It is September 27th, end of the month. Well, Art, you're probably going to educate me on that. It's the end of the month coming up next week, but end of the summer, beginning of the fall, football season is rolling. Baseball is coming to an end, heading towards October, but holy smokes, the Tigers are coming out of nowhere. We don't need to talk about it. In the industry, what? Who just came in, brought in all their new copiers?
Caton.
Who was who was it?
Caton.
Yeah. Who are they?
uh, they are a device agnostic parts and toner supplier.
Right. But whose machines are they? Are they Tayton's
No,
or are
well,
they somebody?
well, there's been confirmation on so
Fuji.
ChatGPT wasn't sure, right? And John's correct. It is the
Of
Fuji
course not.
devices.
Fuji. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's just what we need. More copiers in an industry that needs more copiers because printing is going out like crazy, right? People
Well,
are copying like nuts. Yeah.
maybe
Staying late at night.
maybe they know something we don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, history will prove out that they've always known what was coming around. No, it doesn't. So
Well,
could a company have a Kodak moment before they're even a company? Just kidding. No, I don't know that much about it. I'm just picking on them. The niche could be, I don't know. Do you know much? Yeah, let's dive into it. What do you know about them? Are
well,
they entry level?
they do business with a tremendous amount of vendors across the U.S. They've been around for 30 plus years.
Well, yeah,
So
Caton.
they
Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
they've got a large customer base or client base. Um, some have said that basically getting those machines out in the field will um, ensure parts business for them, parts and supplies.
supplies. Okay, all right.
I'm not sure. I haven't had heard of anybody taking on the Caton line yet. Oh no. Was there
There's a
one?
brand new. Andy just announced like hours ago that they did sign up their first dealer, but I didn't.
Yeah,
I just saw the headline go through. I didn't
yeah,
see who it was.
yeah. They did sign up their first dealer. Um, but again, I think it's a great opportunity for independent dealerships who who are basically selling maybe used machines, they're selling refurbished
Oh,
machines, or they're basically not aligned with any major manufacturer, or maybe um, you know, I'm not saying it's me, but somebody like me who said, okay, well, I'm sick and tired of working for the company I'm working for. Let me put a few $1,000s together and let me see if I can get into bed with Caton, and then I can have my own line. If you think about it, you could go back
Yeah,
to the
right.
Muratech days
well,
when
yeah,
you didn't have a quota, right? You didn't have to move X amount of boxes. You could just basically go get trained. And now all training is virtual. It's hardly
sure.
ever on site anymore. So there's virtually no investment there. And they could get a full line of A3 devices without a major investment.
Well, yeah. So there's little barrier to entry on that standpoint, which is smart on both sides. But when Miratech got in, and the demand curve was on its way up, not
Well,
approaching zero.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I don't. But see, that's just it. I don't know. I mean, if it's a small, long tail manufacturing presence versus global concern with multiple factories and everything, all big nut to cover a monthly overhead.
well, hey,
If
I
it's a
thought
small
about
entry, then it could be.
and I
Yeah.
also thought about this. What if they know something that's on the horizon? Um, Maybe there's some scuttlebutt out there, right, that we don't know about, or look at Marco taking on the Fuji products, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, what happens to those lower end Xerox resellers?
Well,
Do they make the jump? Is there a better program from Caton?
they're gonna. Well,
Does Xerox start losing that market share?
Yeah,
Is this the end days for Xerox in the A3 business?
wouldn't surprise me a bit. I mean, this is a classic disruption. If the demand curve were even remotely growing, I would say so.
But yeah, but
But
it doesn't have to be growing.
it doesn't.
It can be flat, right? But if Caton has a better plan for dealers that's going to pay them more profit, why should those dealers stick with Xerox on
Well,
the A3 devices? I understand
that's a good
production,
point. No,
but
no, no, no. Yeah, 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 yeah.
if I
Because
was the VP of sales for Caton, I'd be hitting up every small Xerox dealer there is.
well, I don't know. See, I don't know the details of their program, but yeah, they'd have
I
to
don't
come
either.
in when you say better, or it'd have to be cheaper. Period. It's
Well,
commoditized, so it's
better is cheaper.
got to be a higher
Yes.
margin, and the products can't suck terrible.
And think about this. What if the parts were a lot cheaper than Xerox, right?
Well, yeah,
Well,
everything's gonna have to be cheaper.
why? Well, you're thinking about maybe, and again, I don't know, maybe they have a deal where they're gonna put the Fuji machines out there, but maybe all the consumables are going to be Caton generic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I really don't know. I don't know if Fuji. See, I don't know if there is. I mean, are these brand new boxes? Are these relabeled that have been around for the last few
Brand
years?
new,
That there are third.
brand new.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is there third party toner available right now for those products? I doubt it, but maybe.
Or
Um,
maybe Caton already has them.
maybe they've
It's
arranged it. I would imagine we would have heard that one, right? That Caton is supplying the OEM toners, that which
so
would be cool.
on a couple of articles that I read,
Hmm.
one of one point that someone made was that they'd be able to grow their consumables business by having this line of A3s. Now, does that mean that all the parts come from Fuji? Or do they have an agreement with Fuji that basically those, the PCBs, the power boards, controllers, etc. They all come from Fuji, but they have an agreement that basically they're going to use their own generic supplies.
Well, that would be, again, these are all great things that look good on paper. When the rubber hits the road, when the toner hits the paper, it's how many paper pages a month is it in hitting, right? That's
And
what it is.
and we shall see. Only time will tell.
Well, how about Lexmark
Yeah, that was the other biggie, right? From just this week.
this week? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, what do you hear
See,
about? I mean, it doesn't really surprise anyone. It doesn't surprise me, at least, so it can't surprise everyone. What the rumors that Lexmark is going to be up for sale. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not, but that was earlier in the week, and that was a scuttlebutt. I think it actually was a real press release of some sort.
right,
So
partial press release, or yeah, and they're trying to
seems
get
real.
two billion or so dollars. Um, I don't understand how any current manufacturer can invest in that, unless I don't know, unless the VC buys them. I don't understand that either. It doesn't sound
Wow.
viable.
I mean, even if you buy it for two, can you slice it up and sell it for more? I don't know. How much is the brand name worth?
Can't be worth as much as it used to.
No,
I
no, no.
mean,
But can you bring it back? That's another thing, though, too. Can you? I mean, if they sell it off to say a private firm of some sort that's American, a U.S. firm, and I don't even know if that's going to happen. Can you bring Rexmark back to Kentucky and make Lexmark great again?
uh, manufacturing is going to have to stay in Asia. There's no question about that.
Yeah, they shifted all that, right? It's all over there right now. Nothing
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
U.S.
So yeah, a lot of they are currently owned by Nine Star,
Nine Star, right?
right?
Yeah.
So they've got that whole Nine Star, um, gig going on with the slaving in China. Certain amount of their products weren't allowed into certain markets or global,
Right.
right? But you know, when I'm out there in the field, I mean,
Yeah.
I the only thing I ever see is I'll see Lexmark printers every now and then, right?
Right.
Just yesterday, was it yesterday or just yesterday, I ran into an account that had 5 A3 Lexmarks. First time I've seen Lexmarks A3 MFPs in
Hmm.
years, just years.
I think they did pretty well and still do pretty well with the government, with federal
As far
government.
as I understand, they do.
Yeah. Yeah. So even though they've had the challenges with the Uyghurs and the Chinese, it's still on contract. It's still, the government's still able to buy it, the federal government. And I think we have a friend who does that. What distributor do we know that does that specifically?
Um, yeah, actually, one of my buddies is a rep for Lexmark.
Okay. Well, so that's two things. Lexmark, it looks like they're trying to spin some way, and then there's another person coming into town. That's interesting. Yeah.
Right. And then we have the other bombshell that hit, right? Where Epson bought Fiery.
Yeah. Now that's interesting. That's very. I
Very.
mean, yeah. What do you think about that, John?
I don't know. I don't see how that could be profitable. I don't see where that future is. Because why would I, as a manufacturer, buy a product that's made by another manufacturer that's in competition with me for my hardware?
So,
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
so let me ask you this, John. I'll put it to you this way. Why does Toshiba partner with DocuWare, who's owned by Ricoh?
To sell software. I, I mean, is that the right answer?
Well, no. Well, yeah, kind of to sell software, right? But they are, you know, Toshiba is a big is a big buyer of DocuWare products.
Number one, from what I understand.
Okay, there you go, there you go, and they're owned
Yeah.
by Ricoh. So I don't think that plays into a big thing that dealers will shy away as long as Epson treats Fiery like Ricoh treats DocuWare and let them run their own organization like they have in the past.
Good point.
Someone help me out and remind me the relevancy and significance of
Sure,
firing.
sure. So Fiery, John, maybe you're a better one for this. I know it, but you can get into a little bit more detail about why Fiery is needed.
Yeah. So Fiery is an external image processor. Raster image processor is what it's called. So essentially, instead of the print job that is sent over to the printer from the computer, instead of it going over as as PostScript or PCL, it goes to the Fiery first. The Fiery does a lot of good things really quickly. It has more memory, it has more processing power, it has more storage, so it can process large jobs faster than your standard built-in processor in every MFP or printer. Also, it has the ability to match Pantone colors. So if you're printing logos and you know your logo has to be red number 32, Pantone red number 32, the Fiery is going to know that's not just a CMYK value. That is red 32. I need to know how to make that, and I do. And I know what the printer is capable of. I know because I just calibrated today what the humidity is, the temperature, and I can hit that color with a large amount of accuracy and consistency over time. So that is a huge benefit to anyone that does commercial printing, to in-plant production.
Right.
If you're going to print logos, boy, you have to hit that color because that's your brand, your brand identity.
Sure.
And Fiery does that really, really well. It has a lot of tools to calibrate the system and to,
Sure.
hit your spot colors and all this whole variety of different things. That's the second reason. The third reason is there's a whole workflow built into Fiery that you can create a vast array of different products like postcards, business cards, booklets, tabs, a lot of functionality that is difficult to do outside of Fiery, but with inside of Fiery, it's inside the printer, knows what the printer is capable of, really, really good at doing that. So that's Fiery, and that's why they sell it. And Fiery makes devices for every manufacturer.
So from light production up to heavy production, I mean, Fiery controllers, they don't go as high as Indigos, do they? In that range, or are we not talking?
That's a good question. I don't know that off the top of my head, but they do flatbed production. They do wide format production. So yeah, they're a big name in that space.
So it's now. Why would you sell that?
Because they got the right amount of money.
Well, there's that. Yeah, go on.
Fiery was a spin-off of EFI. So EFI, Electronic for Imaging, was the original. They sold a product called Fiery. They spun off that division as just Fiery, which was just a print processors. EFI still makes flatbed production, wide format production, advertising, signage, that kind of thing.
Yep.
That still exists. Fiery is what Epson bought. The processing arm. Yeah.
Then I don't know. So if it's starting to come back to me because I think Icon was where I first heard of Fiery and the rips and started using it, and I think around Konicas and Canons and things like that.
Yep.
Okay. So, but marketing wise, I'm still trying to figure out. So if you sold I'm guessing they're selling the software and the technology to X, and Y wants to use Firies on my machines, I need to buy that from them for a licensing fee. So if any of the OEMs incorporate Fiery, software front ends, they're going to have to buy it instead of from getting it wherever they were before. Get it from who bought them? Epson? Is that what you said?
Epson, yeah.
Yep.
Whoa. So here we are again, right? It's a competitor. You're right. The DocuWare thing and Ricoh, Shiba, and now anyone who has a graphics, a RIP, and wants to use it, because there aren't any other ones out there, right? I mean, that's pretty much.
There's other DFEs. DFEs is digital front ends. There's Onyx. There's
I've heard of that.
Colorgate. What I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right. Wasatch. There's a few of them out there, but Fiery has the biggest market share.
Yep.
Well, you're right. It's a very interesting thing.
And Fiery is the brand name like Kleenex or Xerox, right?
Yeah.
I've read about this, and I put some stuff into AI, and AI gave me some interesting information about why Epson did this. And Epson has their own line of inkjet devices that they're looking to grow that inkjet business. Of course, they're in the business of selling ink, and they feel that the Fiery technology can further help them with their wide format ink-based systems. So they'll be taking something that's basically was more for cut sheet toner-based products and bringing that technology and workflow into their products, which I think can be a big boon for them because they're big. Who's their competition? HP.
Right. Wow. All right. That's interesting. The whole thing's very, very interesting. Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah, and then there was one other note here that I read. It'll expand Epson's reach into industrial and textile printing. I've spoken about this. I've spoken about this forever. Print is here to stay. But if dealers want to continue in the print business, they've got to migrate where print is going. Migrating to wide format machines, migrating to digital label presses, migrating to textile printers.
Yep.
There was just a press release, I think, yesterday by Kyocera on one of their inkjet machines, where they actually used their inkjet machine to design garments, clothing. Yeah.
What do you mean design? I mean, go ahead, expand
Well,
on
the
that.
design, I'm sure there was a designer, but they used their inkjet process from what, and I could be wrong, but to
That's okay. That's okay.
print
Yeah.
clothing.
Oh, okay. That's what let's think about.
Oh, you mean to create the patterns on the
correct.
cloth? I see. Okay. Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, I'll tell you what, if ever there's a market that print could inject themselves in and it's fashion. I mean, nothing kills fashion. That industry, whether you believe it or not, it just keeps going. There's nothing that kills. It's where print fits in, and I guess calling it print may be too restraining, but we applying color to fabric, and if you can get really crazy with it, because not only just in design and how quick it is to get out. Yeah, that's an interest. I haven't given that much thought, but I can see where you apply technology like that to a garment, to a material. Mm-hmm. And if it's ink, because that's the only way you can do it, you can't put toner on it. So it has to be ink. Right.
Right.
And if you get really crazy with your inks, because I don't know if you guys have seen what they're doing on some of these crazy garments, right? You can walk around and change the color of your dress. Or the dress will match whatever it's behind background. It's just crazy stuff. Prototypes, but
I'm gonna share my screen for a minute. I actually brought up the article. Share. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Second collaboration between inkjet textile printer for Earth. And there would be the picture of this beautiful lass in their clothing.
Mm-hmm.
That was apparently, they're showing it was made actually on an inkjet printer.
Oh.
And then probably cut the fit or something in that manufacturing process. So there it is. Growth in print.
To me, this is interesting. This is interesting. I would even spend some cycles on trying to find out a little bit more about that. Because the materials are going to advance, the inks are going to advance, and the design process is going to advance. And then you're going to throw AI at all that. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Wow. Interesting. So, Art, what's new in your world in the door-to-door copier salesman world? Yeah, how's it going, man? How's it going?
Well, I was out last week, as you know. I had some surgery done that I needed. Let's put it this way. I got a monkey off my back.
Literally, I think, right?
Literally, yeah, pretty much. We got we ended our quarter. Company-wise, we did well. Ended the quarter. My quarter, I was down. I ended up being down $25K for the quarter because the day before I went into surgery, I got a deal for $85,000 for one machine.
Oh, dude! Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that
congrats.
That helped out my numbers, but I just see it for whatever it was 5 years ago. There's just maybe I had an off year 5 years ago, since most of my leases are 5 years. I'm not seeing a lot of opportunities now for October, November, December, which, would be easier if I had those upgrades available, but they're just not there. And now I've got to go out and find them. You got to go
Okay.
out and make things happen. If you don't, losers wait for things to happen, winners make things happen. And I plan to make things happen. And, hopefully I'll end up at
Sure.
the end of the year where I need to be. I'm a little bit over right now. But again,
I forgot. You're
it's
right, dude. We're heading into October, November, December. That's
right,
it. That's the
right,
final turn.
right. Usually,
Holy cow.
December is some of the better months of the year,
Right.
as long as you've got it built up beforehand. So you can
Oh
still
yeah.
build.
You're doing it right now. Yeah.
You can still build in October and maybe the first couple of weeks of November, and you're not going to be able to build after that. But
Thanksgiving to Christmas. No.
right, but
You're
you
close.
could get clients coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah,
All of a
you will.
sudden, hey, my accountant says I need to spend money, and they weren't even on your radar. No, and that's a part
Love
of
it.
what I say. As long as you work hard, you never know what tomorrow's going to bring you. So you just got to put in the effort and make shit happen.
Hey, is anything like okay? So wide format is still in your world, your specific world. That's kind of like not your bread and butter, but that's a big plank in the platform of yours, right? Wide format.
For me, yeah, architects,
Okay.
engineers, construction.
Yeah.
The machines are basically there's only three competitors, right? Instead of if
Right.
you're in a copier industry, if you're selling copier A3s or A4s, there's 8 or 9 competitors. You can get better at it quickly because there's only 2 other competitors out there.
Right.
Plus the revenue, the average revenue for a black based wide format is probably $16,000. It takes as much effort to sell 5 copiers as it does 1 copier, right? Or one wide format, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got a quota of, let's say you got a quota of $50,000 and your average sale is $5,000 on the low end, you're going to need 10 machines to hit that number.
Yeah.
That's a lot of transactions.
A lot of paperwork.
That's a lot of paperwork too, right?
Yeah.
So considering there's only 22 work days in a month, that means basically every other day you got to turn in an order.
And then babysit the order, make sure the order gets through, correct the misspellings and the incorrect ratios and the bad.
Or
go back to the customer.
Fix your own mistakes.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, your mistakes plus anyone else who touches the order's mistakes, personalities, bias,
or anything
gravity.
that can happen in the meantime.
And then there's hurricanes, blizzards, and wars in the Ukraine. So yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely. Dude. And now on the East Coast, we're going to have the strike from the longshoremen.
Oh, that's right.
They're going to basically shut down the East Coast.
Which will probably happen. This is the way things are going now. Everyone seems to be going on strike.
And
then it ends.
They want a 67% increase.
Holy shit.
67%.
That seems like a lot.
And they said the companies are I guess the owners of the companies are not operating in their best interest.
So somebody somewhere thinks that the corporations can afford a 66% increase in cost.
No. They think that the public can afford a 67%.
So that's what they think. Are they? Oh, well, they're that forward thinking. Okay, well then I'll give them more credit.
That's my thought. No, that's my thoughts. Because it's not going to come out of the company's hide. It's going to come out of the consumer.
All right. Until the company figures out how those robots are going to cost 1/10 of a longshoreman.
Well, yeah, that'll be a long, drawn out fight, right?
No, it'll like day and night. Day and night. One day they're going to show up. There's going to be 2 of them sitting next to them, 2 robots in that crane thingamajigger that Tom Cruise was working at, or they'll automate that whole crane thing. It's not going to be pretty, but knew I was. All these strikes are okay. Well, that will that could be big. Or
Right. Plus we run into what are we, 44 days away from the election as well?
and there's that. Jeez, oh Pete, forgot all about that. I mean, no matter which way that goes, there's going to be impact. I am a believer that no matter who wins, the economy takes a bump up because now we know, right?
Yep.
Now we know we have to hide all our money because the government's going to come get it. Or now we know that all these regulations I've been dealing with for the last 4 years are going to go away. So
Right.
either way, we know what it is and we can deal with it. This one's a little different, I think. I don't, yeah, okay, we know 80%. I think once it's done, you're going to know 60% of what's going to happen, not 80 or 90. Well, that's someone should write that down. Because no matter if it's Trump or Kamala, there's still guesswork. There's roll of the dice of which way how it's going to impact.
Absolutely.
Man, and this one, you know what? I hate to say it. I don't want to sound just thinking about it right now, because I got involved in politics when Carter was in. Maybe the same with you guys, right?
Carter was
election. Carter was in. My first election was Ronald Reagan.
Oh, are you a teenager?
Yeah. So my first person I could vote for was Reagan.
Okay.
So that's 80. That's 1980. So yeah, I was going through the formative years of the Carter malaise in Detroit. I mean, dude, the Japanese were killing the auto industry, quote unquote. They were shooting themselves, Lee Iacocca, the whole thing, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was pretty bad. And now but then I became more aware, like everyone else, through the 80s and the 90s, and okay, things are cool. There were layoffs every now and then. The economy took a dip here, a dip there. There's always been that up and down. And I don't know if I'm more aware of the issues that are out there now, or are there more issues out there now? But I think there are more issues out there. So I think the big question mark after the election is a lot bigger than it was, in any other election before it. Wow, that's interesting. Sorry. Okay. John, what are you seeing out there?
I've been busy with, I tell you, phone systems.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Some front end scanning solutions for real small companies that aren't, ready to invest in document management, but they still want to be able to arrange documents where they need to go named correctly. And if they do a lot of documents, they want something to automate that. I've been doing that. Some production print opportunities. That was today, as I was up in northeast Pennsylvania, visiting a customer for production opportunity. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. It's hidden. Did a big software DocuWare demo for a company. That's been exciting.
Yeah. And John, real quick for the benefit of the audience, again, what do you do? Explain it real quick.
So I'm a technology solution specialist, and I help reps sell technology.
There we go. Okay.
That's pretty much it. That's as succinctly as I can put it.
And he's not in sales, and he does a tremendous job.
Okay. Thank you, Art. I appreciate that.
He leaves sales to the salespeople and gives the technical to the clients, and just does an awesome job at doing it.
Hey, well, John, what company?
With Stratix. Now. I was
okay.
Stratix 2.5 years. Before that, with Ricoh for 15 years. Before that, it was Canon for a few years. And before that, it was an independent dealer back in Pittsburgh for 10 years. So it's been
a
long journey in copiers and copier related industry.
John, you've been with us for 2.5 years now?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
I know, it flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Don't even get me going on that subject.
Hey, I want to share my screen. John, I don't know if you read this, but I know
What's that?
Greg did. I just want to bring this up. I know Greg likes this stuff.
Okay. What does it say?
Oh, that's right. You
Yeah.
can't see it.
Can't read it.
Is it up? Is it up on the screen, Greg?
I can
Yeah,
see
it
it.
is.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Johnny Carson interviews Art Post.
Now, is this Art? Did you do this with ChatGPT?
Yes, I did. Greg
Very
gave
nice.
me the idea.
Very nice.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I thought Art, that was so cool, and I think I penned something.
It
Did I?
didn't get a lot of, unfortunately, it didn't get a lot of impressions. I thought it would.
I'm telling you, don't even get me started on that. The whole AI thing in our industry is mum's the word, mum's the word. But so I loved it, and so what's coming on with AI right now is everyone individually is going to get something out of it. I hope even if just 12 people read it, Art, fine. And I thought it was clever, funny, and engaging. The thing is that it's going over a lot of people's heads still.
Yeah, I guess so. After I did that one, I said, okay, well, let me try something else, right?
Yes.
And I didn't publish it yet because I want to tweak it a little bit. But I go, interview me and let Tommy Boy interview me.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right?
Oh, I didn't even think about stuff like that. That's cool.
So
That's awesome.
Tommy Callahan interviews
Yeah.
Art Post.
Nice.
And we had a little
That's
talk.
good.
We had a little talk time. It goes, and basically, no, actually, it was Richard interviewing me with the Tommy Boy mentality, right? And it said, something to the effect. Richard said, okay, well, how would you, position your copiers against
Perfect.
for reliability? And then I went into something where, oh man, each summer we'd be out in the fields testing our copiers against cow tipping. And we tip the cows on the copiers and see if they still work. It actually got, as their questions progressed,
Mm.
it actually made me think even more about the answers to stay in line with the creativity of that type of interaction.
Oh my gosh, Art. Yeah, you're strumming the strings because we're talking just in this little niche. Well, expand that out. So I just started 2 weeks ago a whole AI and religion thing. Just grabbing content about how artificial intelligence is impacting religion from the Catholics, from the Muslims, from all different denominations.
Right.
Let me tell you, it is lighting that world on fire. They are just beside themselves. Because, I mean, if you get someone who knows technology and has dealt with and is in well, it doesn't matter, right? The religious realm, we'll call it that. There is a streak of fear out there on that realm. And
Really?
the easy thing is, well, AI isn't human and AI porn is bad. Okay, yeah, whatever. But they're not answering. Very few of them are going into the deep side of, well, AI really isn't about AI. It's about the human. It's about the human spirit. It's about this, that, and the other thing. It's about the stories we've created over time. And then they're going, oh, really? It's about getting to the truth without someone else telling me what it is.
Mm.
And, there's no more need to interpret. And I'll just say this, right? And this is just an example. There's no more need for someone else to interpret the quote word of God to me. And that blows that whole thing out of the water. They don't. So you'll see local guys are preaching against the standard stuff, the pornography, the digital humans, the fake girlfriends and fake husbands that you can create in AI, where you'll get into the more cerebral thinkers on the whole art and science and business of religion. And it starts to, they see a crumbling, a threat, let's put it that way. And so it's been a fascinating dive for me in the last couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
anyway, it all comes back to what's the truth, and in sales, there we are again, right? We sell, hopefully, we sell what's true, right? Hopefully,
Right. So when I was doing this, I was kind of intrigued when I asked it to interview me, that it brought up points in the article that I asked questions to maybe 6 months ago with AI. So yeah, it
wow.
actually it gave me my own AI persona.
Yeah, yeah, it'll do that.
Well, yeah.
And Art, just to be clear, and I'm the same way. You don't. Do you have the paid version or not?
No, I don't need the paid version.
I know. I mean, I backed off the paid maybe 6, 8 months ago. Now I have all four of them lit up, and I'll run the same prompt against all of them, or whatever, the 4 or 5, whatever they are,
Right.
just to see. But I'm probably going to go back to the paid because now I hear the paid is even deeper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the speech
Yeah.
thing is even better.
I wish.
The speech thing is incredible before the paid. Now,
Yeah, I just wish I had more time to do that. Who knows? I may have more time in the future. So
it's
did you see
anyway.
the one question where Johnny asked me in the article? And all right, I hear you're trying to sell Greg Walters a new copier.
I missed that,
Well,
Art. What did it go on?
that came from me doing some testing about. In one of my chat questions I was asking, I go, okay, give me some insight on trying to sell Greg Walters a copier. I had and that was buried, like a month ago, right?
Oh, wow.
So when I told it to interview me, it actually remembered that. They came up with uh and I hear you trying to sell Greg Walters. Now we all know he's a tough guy to impress. What's your game plan? And it says, you're gonna wine and dine him, or you're gonna have some secret copier trip up your sleeve to seal the deal. So
Okay, let me just see if I understand. So that came out of something we're guessing, right? So it deduced that, it summarized that based on a conversation you had earlier, 6 months earlier.
correct. We were
We
dealing
guessed.
on a few shows ago about personas and selling to people who we know, or you put in their LinkedIn profile, right? And then AI pulls their profile, right? So I was doing that for you just to see how I would interact with it. And that's where it pulled it from. And then my answer was what I wrote, and AI didn't write this. I go, Greg, how did you know that? Right? I
Yeah.
guess, and then I guess AI knows all. And I said, Greg's a tough cookie. However, getting Greg to talk about his passions first, like bourbon, will open him up some. We can then talk about the best bourbons.
It's true.
How the best bourbons is a reflection on how good our Rico products are. After a few drinks, I'll be able to sell Greg whatever he needs.
That's true. Wow, Art.
Very cool.
That's a hell of an up, and that's free. That's the free one.
That's the free one. Yeah.
So the applications there are huge for a rep. I mean,
Yep. To me, the application is if I'm dealing with somebody new, maybe what I do is I take their LinkedIn page and I just said, I just start asking it questions and say, tell me more about this person, or tell me, any press releases, or tell me this, and ask it 8 or 9 questions. And then what you put in, I think weeks ago, how would I approach this person in the sale?
Yeah. Wow. So, all right, I'll let you know this. So I said I had 4 or 5 of them that lit up. I give all of them the same prompt. All right, so Perplexity,
Yeah,
Gemini,
yeah, yeah.
Chat. I give them all the same prompt, and I swear to gosh, they all come back with different answers. Some of them are better, some of them aren't that good.
Right,
Whatever. Perplexity is a really good research. Return to me something that looks like a scientific report, right?
right,
And it's been fairly accurate. Meta is kind of like Chat GPT. It brings back content written in a certain style. All right, so it's more narrative. Chat GTP, because you can have your own GPTs set up,
right,
it will respond in whatever tone or style you want it to. So, like, I have, take this content and revise it in the style that the imaging channel readers would like, because I've got a whole profile set up with the imaging channel, and it'll regurgitate in a style that it matches whatever 50
right.
other articles.
But also, if you've been writing on ChatGPT, right? And if you've been
Yeah,
writing
then there's
and you've
that.
been
Yeah.
creating that content, then it's even easier to say, okay, well, take all this information that I just, I gave it 10 different queries. Okay, take all of that, take all those 10 queries, write me a blog in
Yep.
my style.
Yep. In your style. Absolutely. And from this is why I'm thinking about going back to the page, because not 4.0, but the new version has more of a thought process to it. I don't know what that means. It's not linear. It's more conceptual, I guess. So it will think more than what the other versions have. I'm speaking out of school because I haven't used it yet, so I don't know. But
Right.
all I know is that within 12 months, everything's changed. It's what's going to happen in the next 12 months. I have no clue. It's out there. So, but I think that copier salespeople can really jump on this and impact their funnel today, really, and don't have to pay. We're just talking about the free version.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easier to use than the spreadsheet, Art, right? I mean, you got Johnny Carson to interview you.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah. What else is going on?
Yeah. In the industry,
Oh,
I think we've
no, no,
had
no. I
a
wanted to ask John a question. Seriously about you, because John, you mentioned scanning intake, right? Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Art and I were talking about this before. I think that is probably a growth area for the industry, is scanning and capturing hard copy documents. And I don't know if Art, you might be able to help me out, but somebody somewhere brought up the interesting application of AI to manage hard copy files. John, how much are you into the artificial intelligence movement? Anything at all, or where are you at
Well,
with that?
yeah. So what's happening? What I'm seeing, and I have an opportunity processing right now. There is a company that was purchased by DocuWare, so that's how we have a relationship through DocuWare, that specializes in AI document classification, extraction, summarization. One other thing, and I'm blanking on it, but essentially, it looks at a page, understands the content, and can tell you what kind it is. I mean, what's the form type? It would be a good word. Extract the information that's in there, summarize it without read the whole page, and there's one more thing, and I can't think of it. I'm not using it, but I have an opportunity with a customer that processes these government forms, and they are all the same. Not the same. They're similar with much different people that they're about, and they are open thousands of these a week, and they have to have something that can read them, understand what it is, extract the first and last name of the recipient, and name the file for what it is and put it someplace.
Oh,
All automatically. And as a proof of concept, this company has asked for 100 examples of 2 different documents. It trains its AI model on those 2 different types, and it will allow you then to just feed it information, read it, give you all the information back. At 15,000 pages a month, it's taking many, many people. Their full-time job is just reading these letters.
Well,
It's a huge ROI. I think it's a huge opportunity. But yeah, that's AI is creeping into the historically what's been zonal OCR, barcode reading,
Yeah.
static form, which works sometimes. But hey, if I can give it 100 examples of an invoice and it knows every invoice I ever feed it, boy, that's powerful.
Yeah, and that's AI right there. And that's not even AI per se. That's an LLM. Just recognize language and patterns. It does that really, really well. Wow. Wow.
The summarization, I'm interested, really interested to see how the summarization works.
hey, Greg, so is there a difference between natural language processing?
And well, NLP is well, that how do I explain? It applies, but it's a subset, if anything, right? NLP has been around for 1,000,000 years, and again, it's almost like MPS. It depends on who's defining NLP. Well, I haven't heard that term in a long time.
I was just scrolling through an article on my site that mentioned virtual assistants are equipped with natural language processing and machine learning technology.
Yeah, machine learning is one thing, and NLP is not a fancy word for just talking in language. But it's interesting that you bring up that, because I don't know, we don't know if we have much time. But service desk, okay, there are huge companies right now automating their service desk, their help desk, their support lines with bots, and it's crunching the Filipino. It may destroy their economy, the Philippines, because they have so many help desks out there. And we're not talking, Marco and those guys, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, those help the banks.
And some of the accents are very hard to comprehend, understand. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can see where it could put them out of business.
Well, there's not that much of a jump between that and your service desk or your software support helpline, because we all have level 1, 2, or 3, support calls. If the AI or the bot can handle everything up to 3 or whatever, then and do it well and in any language, it's that is a super game changer that just won't affect us. I mean, look at all the IT and all the help desks, and internal help desks. Johnson & Johnson, all of the big companies that have global concerns. Johnson & Johnson had like 50 different locations in every time zone.
Right.
200 or 300 languages, a lot of languages. So their help desk and their support, no matter what it was, right? It could have been for the IT, it could have been for whatever they do, is huge. That cost is huge. So, I think back to small days even at Icon or even a Panasonic dealership. If I could off-source my level 1, 2, and maybe even 3, or at least 1, 2 service calls to a bot, that works.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
24/7.
Yeah,
exactly. Christmas Eve.
They never take a break. They never go on vacation. Yeah.
No, no employment taxes. No, how do I pay this guy in the Philippines issue? No vacation. No, oh, gee whiz. 2 of my operators.
No coming in late. No attitude.
Yeah. No unions. No strikes.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's happening right now. So beware of that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
everyone, it's we had a really good chat today.
This was a good one.
I want to thank John, who's been on the show for again for us. It's always good hearing from him. And Greg, as always, you bring some enlightening moments to our talks, to our ideas, right? Right?
Yeah.
We'll be back again
Love it.
next Friday. We're here every Friday at 4 o'clock, bearing a hurricane or an earthquake. And we ask you to tune in. We also ask you, if you'd like to be a guest, to either email Greg or myself. We're always open to guests because the guests are what drives our conversations. And then we can really get deep into this office technology space that we really enjoy. And I really believe that these types of talk tracks can help all of us become more knowledgeable and sell more, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
everybody,
Good job.
please like, follow, share, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.